प्यार के बारे में इतना नहीं सोचा जाता, उनसे कह दो ख़त्म करें मेरी आँखों का सफ़र। देख लीजिए, अब सफ़र ख़त्म तो नहीं हुआ, अभी सफ़र की शुरुआत हुई है। वैसे रूपा आपकी खिदमत में हाजिर हो गई है। हमारा प्यार कबूल कीजिए। आप तो जानते हैं आपने 10 साल तक मेरा साथ दिया है और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, और ये साथ अब चलता रहेगा। हमने आपके लिए एक बहुत ही नया और बहुत ही एनर्जेटिक प्रोग्राम शुरू किया है जिसे यूथ वॉइस का नाम दिया है, और हमारे कुछ बहुत प्यारे प्यारे से एंकर हैं जिसे होस्ट किया करेंगे। एक का नाम है रॉन और एक है सिमरन। आइए देखें वो क्या आज नज़ारा दिखाते हैं।
Hi guys, my name is Ron and this is...
I'm Simran. We bring to you Youth Voice.
Well, today we're going to talk about something called consumerism. This is something where you guys would go out and buy stuff that you don't really need. Well, we'll tell you how to avoid that.
And we bring to you Voice It, views on issues from you.
I don't know, to fit in, plus you know that it's going to work. If you know, I wouldn't buy something that I don't know if I'd buy a phone. I had no idea what the brand was, so I don't know how good it'll actually be.
Do you think it might be about the trust you might have with the brand?
Yeah.
I think some brands just have better marketing than some of the other brands do. So like things like Samsung and Apple obviously a lot more popular, so people are obviously going to go with that.
Do you think you could go a day without your electronic gadgets?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
Why do you think that?
Because it's the way that I get jobs as well. If I'm not connected to emails or something, you can miss out on stuff. So that's one thing.
And I work in an electronics store, so that probably wouldn't work out too well.
He would get fired if he went.
I would probably get fired if there was no electronics. So.
Do you buy more than you need?
Yep, definitely.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say yes.
I think people like to be associated with like a certain brand and kind of show like the image that like a brand promotes. So if they want to be associated with that image, then they'll stick to certain brands,
Do you buy more than you need?
Yeah, way too much.
Yeah? What kind of things do you buy?
Just really pointless things. Mainly like I'll go to like a $2 shop and find things like I need this, but I don't need it.
Mummy, 2.5 times 4.
10. And Mom, which is the strongest animal on the earth?
Elephant. Or 74 plus 89?
And
3.
And Mom, what is the capital of New Zealand?
Oof. Wellington, beta. Far out, Mom. You are so smart. Hold up. You haven't had your milk yet. I'll go and get some.
But Mom, you twisted your arm last night.
No, stupid. Mummy didn't. Papa twisted it. Now, Mummy? Do not change the topic. If you won't have milk, you won't get as smart as I am.
If you're so smart, then why don't you protect yourself, Mom?
What's the use of being exceptionally smart when you can't do anything for yourself? Our kids learn what they see. Protect their future by protecting yourself. Aaj sawaro, kal nikharo.
Hello, Jagriti?
खुद के लिए या किसी दोस्त के लिए गाड़ी की पसंद की बात आए तो लोग बड़े गर्व के साथ में दिकाकुरन सेंटा का नाम लेते हैं।
Hi, I'm Jack Dubey, Managing Director of the Car Clearance Center. We have been in business since 1996. We bring in good quality, low mileage, colorful cars from Japan for our customers in New Zealand.
We offer the best deal with speedometer certified, the mechanical warranty, and of course the best after sales service.
आप भी जाइए और दिकाकुरन सेंटर की कुशल सेल्स टीम से आज ही मुलाकात कीजिए या फिर रिंग कीजिए जैक दुबे या दिलीप सिंह को फोन 276-8148 पर। दिकाकुरन सेंटर।
We are here to serve you.
न्यूजीलैंड में पहली बार कल्चरली एप्रोप्रिएट रेस्ट होम आशीर्वाद रेस्ट होम, आपका अपना अपने घर की तरह, आपकी अपनी भाषा में बात करने वाले, देखने वाले लोग, आपका भारतीय खाना, आपका अपना मनोरंजन। अगर आपके वरिष्ठ बीमार हैं या अपने साथियों के बीच में रहना चाहते हैं तो इससे बेहतर कोई और जगह नहीं होगी। साफ सुथरा वातावरण, घुमाना फिराना और हॉस्पिटल केयर हर वक्त उपलब्ध रहेगी। डेविड लॉन्गी, 4 जेम्स स्ट्रीट, मैंग्रे में। आप मीना से कांटेक्ट करें या जीत को 4430579 या 021221020 पर
और मीना को 2560092 पर।
आशीर्वाद रेस्ट होम।
Hi once again. So today we will be talking to Mr. Ross McDonald. Now he's a lecturer in marketing management at the University of Auckland.
Let's see what he has to say about consumerism.
So welcome back to Youth Voice. I'd like to introduce to you today a wonderful guest that we have on the show. His name is Ross McDonald, and he's a university professor specializing in the areas of ethics, sustainability, and moral justice. It's my great pleasure to welcome Ross McDonald to the show today. Thanks, Ross, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Ross McDonald is a University of Auckland lecturer in the University of Auckland's Business School. And his research area specifically focuses in on ethics, sustainability, and moral justice issues. So thank you very much, Ross, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So what do you think about consumerism? Can you tell us for the audience what that means and why it's important?
I think consumerism is primarily emphasis or a focus on buying and consuming as much as we can in an optimal consumer model. We all consume things as a factor of daily life. We have to buy things to eat, we have to buy clothes, etc. But consumerism increasingly comes to signify overconsumption and building our lives around buying more and more and more and more things endlessly.
Why might that be a problem?
It's a problem because we live on a very small planet that's got a very limited number of resources, and pretty soon by 2050 we're going to have 9 billion people to share what we have on the planet with, and at the moment there are already a couple of billion people who live on less than $2 a day. So if we consume more and more as wealthy countries, we will leave more and more people out of a fair and just system.
Wow, those are some pretty startling statistics. Can you tell us a little bit more about why it would be important to, I guess, consume less, or what I should be aware of.
Yes, I think that it's important because if we put ourselves in the position of those who are not able to consume, those approximately 1 billion people who don't have enough to eat on a daily basis, the problem becomes a big one, something that's impossible for us to see when we sit in the mall and do our shopping online with TradeMe or whatever, but the problems are there. In terms of what it's important for us to understand, we need to understand that we're running out of oil, for example, very rapidly. And so our consumption of plastic is very important. One of the things I think that most people should be aware of is the fact that a huge volume of our waste of plastic and oil is in packaging. And so if people can make simple steps to avoid excessive packaging, it helps a great deal. If people can recycle, it helps a great deal. If people can cycle more, walk more, catch the bus more instead of consuming more and more petrol, that helps. Anything that allows us to reuse resources and leaves more for others to access is advisable and indeed critical at this point, I think.
That's really interesting. Now, I've heard a lot about plastic water bottles, so you're talking a bit about this idea of plastics. And it's oil? Plastic is made of oil?
Yeah.
Wow.
Approximately, if you think of a bottle of water, in the, H2Go, those types of things, 1/4 of the volume of the water in there is about how much oil is used to make it and process, transport, and so on and so forth. So every bottle of water is a problem, and there's no need to be buying that. You can buy one bottle and refill it, and there are many ways around that problem, but consumption becomes an issue of convenience. So it is made very, very easy for us to overconsume and waste our resources in reckless ways.
Well, as a young person today, how are we supposed to know all this? Why, consumerism is a big deal, I guess.
Yeah. I think there are endless resources online that people can use. A good place probably for young people who are interested in knowing more is The Story of Stuff, which you can find on YouTube very easily. And the way YouTube works, if you watch that, there are a whole stack of things that will come up as suggested associated things that you can watch that can begin to allow you to understand and unfold more of the issues and the problems and the steps that you can take.
So it sounds like there's some positive things I can do.
Oh, there are certainly some positive things you can do. Talking to people around you, taking easy steps to reduce excessive consumption, buying more locally. So with fruits and vegetables, for example, buying what's in season and what grows here, as opposed to buying things that are imported from the other side of the world, which uses a huge amount of resources again and creates an enormous amount of pollution. That for young people looking to the future, it would be very wise not to heat up the planet anymore, because we're getting quite close to some critical tipping points with that. It's basically because our happiness and our well-being is based upon finding a meaning in life. That's a good positive purpose. Finding your own unique shape. So if you're a musician or you are a poet or an artist or whatever, it's having time to do that. And if we're working to make money to buy stuff, we never have time to actually do that. And our relationships. And none of those cost money. Right? Those are things that we can engage for free, and they're not material and dependent upon consuming. So we can free ourselves from a lot of that treadmill, which is ultimately depressing anyway.
Wow. I've learned a lot. Is there anything, a tip or a trick? You spoke about a lot of things. If there's one thing that young people today can take away, what would you recommend? What's a habit we could change? Or
I think there are many things. A good one at the moment, I think, is instead of constantly buying new things, is to exchange and share. There are increasing numbers of websites that people can access where people put things that they no longer want or have a use for, and instead of sending it to landfill, there's somebody out there who will want it, and you can swap things with them. And I think we need to get into an era of exchange and sharing, instead of individually piling up as many toys as we can and thinking that we win the game of life according to how big the pile of our consumption is.
What's going to happen to the economy? I mean, what happens if people stop consuming? 'Cause
It gets healthier.
really?
We get a lot more time and freedom to be ourselves and to be relaxed. It's interesting that the average 17-year-old now carries a level of anxiety that in the 1960s in Europe would have them forcefully committed to a psychiatric institution. So we slowly, like a frog in boiling water, are building a society for ourselves that is very stressful and very anxious. And I think young people are well aware of the pressures that are on them. If we tone down the need to grow our economy as if that's the be-all and end-all of life, we could all be more relaxed, and we could all have more time, and we could all be more sane, and we could all be more happy. Growing our economy it's got to have a purpose, and its purpose should be building a just and fair and balanced and happy society. And we've got an overly large economy where we're overly consuming, and it's making us miserable, and we're creating an unjust world as a result of it. So shrinking the economy would be an excellent thing, regardless of what the politicians say to us, because we've got to remember that our political process is in many ways beholden to business. And the agenda of our governments these days is to grow the economy and serve business instead of moderating the economy and serving society, and particularly young people. Because when we look to the future, it's a problematic and troubling world, but young people, given the chance, have got all the tools available to solve that, as long as they don't fall for the lie that growing economy is the ultimate goal of life.
Right, because when you study economics, it's about supply and demand. It doesn't actually say that you have to continue growing, does it?
No, not at all. And the only thing that keeps growing in nature is a cancer cell. Right? Endless growth is a fatal and a ludicrous and a deathly aim to have in life. Right? So growth is good, but it's got to have a purpose. It's not an end in itself. So economics in its current form needs radical revision, because it's about 50 years out of date in terms of what we need. And particularly for young people, mainstream economics is long out of date. It's last century's way of thinking.
Wow. That certainly shifts my way of thinking about these things. So thank you very much, Ross, for your time today, and it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And now we bring to you our next segment, Tips Before You Flip. Number 1, latest phones. What's the point? I mean, if you have the iPhone 4, why would you go and buy the iPhone 4S at its release?
2. Well, one shirt costs $50, the other costs just $15. Why would you buy a shirt worth $50 just because of its brand name? I mean, it serves the same purpose. Think?
Number 3. So, I mean, why would you go outside and buy a sandwich? That's $4, and you could make that same sandwich at home for about less than 30 cents. Literally, like the bread costs $1, the whole bread, this lettuce, like less than 80 cents. What else? All the other ingredients will be just less than that. So, make your sandwich at home.
Number 4, entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. You go out for movies 3 times a week. Why? You can just rent out gaming consoles. Like, why would you spend so much? Just rent out, man. Shh.
Number 5, bottled waters. I mean, when you can easily refill a stainless steel bottle more than one time. Why would you want to buy a plastic bottle every now and then?
Segment number 6. So we're talking about stationery now. Well, my friend Simran, you know, the one anchoring with me, well, she goes outside and buys stationery all the time. How about, finish your other supplies first before you go out and buy more?
Number 7, girls, calm down on the unnecessary decor. Like, how many times do you look at that wind chime in the corner that's been sitting there for like 6 months or something?
Number 8, data plans. Okay, I know it's really practical to have data plans these days on your mobile phones and take it around and you can use it. But, I mean, we can get Wi-Fi everywhere. Is it really worth investing in a data plan?
Segment number 9. Do you really like something in a store that you've recently seen? Maybe something little, something big? Well, it might just go on sale sometime really soon. So don't buy it. Wait for it. Wait for that sale on. Wait for that big sign that says 50% off.
Desire to have a baby is every woman's first right. Don't give up. If you have problems in conceiving, then we would encourage you not to give up. Get the best possible specialized medical advice. We appreciate that it can be a long and often frustrating process. For ultimate help, try Ayurvedic Fertility Solutions, where we practice a holistic approach. We can give you absolute professional support during this time. Make a positive decision to get as much help as possible. Be positive and come to Ultimate Ayurveda Health Clinic. Call 0800 829 2045 today and book your appointment with Dr. Priya as soon as possible. Dr. Priya has 25 years of specialization and many success stories to share. Visit ayurvedic.co.nz now to book your appointment with Dr. Priya Punjabi before it's too late. Call Dr. Priya on 0800 829 2045. Email priya@ayurvedic.co.nz.
ऑकलैंड होम्योपैथिक सॉल्यूशंस लिमिटेड आपकी सेहत में मिलावट के बिना और वो भी बिना किसी साइड इफेक्ट के सिर्फ होम्योपैथी ही दे सकती है राहत। और वो है डॉक्टर पुष्पिंदर जो आपको एलर्जी, अस्थमा, कफ, पिंपल्स, जॉइंट पेन्स, हे फीवर, हार्मोनल डिसबैलेंसेस लाइक थायराइड, लेडीज प्रॉब्लम्स के इलाज से जुड़े सवालों के देंगे जवाब।
मेरा नाम डॉक्टर पुष्पिंदर है और मैं एक होम्योपैथिक डॉक्टर हूँ। पिछले 30 साल से मैं आपकी सेवा में कार्यरत हूँ। अगर आपको कोई एक्यूट या कोई क्रॉनिक प्रॉब्लम है या बहुत देर से ट्रीटमेंट ले भी रहे हैं, आपकी प्रॉब्लम नहीं ठीक हो रही, तो आप एक बार ज़रूर मुझे कॉन्टैक्ट करिए, क्योंकि होम्योपैथी बिल्कुल सेफ़ मेडिसिन है। चाहे बच्चे लें या प्रेग्नेंट लेडीज़ लें या बूढ़े लें, सबके लिए सेफ़ है। तो एक बार ज़रूर आप मुझे मिलिए और अपनी प्रॉब्लम मेरे साथ डिस्कस कीजिए।
Hey, once again, now today we're going to talk about a segment called What's Trending.
Check out a video about the reality of products that you buy.
We have become a nation of consumers. Our primary identity has become that of being consumers, not mothers, teachers, farmers, but consumers. The primary way that our value is measured and demonstrated is by how much we contribute to this arrow, how much we consume. And do we? We shop and shop and shop, keep the materials flowing, and flow they do. Guess what percentage of total materials flow through this system is still in product or use 6 months after their date of sale in North America? 50%? 20? No, 1%. 1. In other words, 99% of the stuff we harvest, mine, process, transport, 99% of the stuff we run through this system is trashed within 6 months. Now, how can we run a planet with that level of materials throughput? It wasn't always like this. Well, 2 of their most effective strategies are planned obsolescence and perceived obsolescence. Planned obsolescence is another word for designed for the dump. It means they actually make stuff to be useless as quickly as possible, so we'll chuck it and buy a new one. It's obvious with things like plastic bags and coffee cups, but now it's even big stuff. Mops, DVDs, cameras, barbecues even, everything. Even computers. Have you noticed that when you buy a computer now, the technology is changing so fast that in just a couple of years, it's actually an impediment to communication? I was curious about this, so I opened up a big desktop computer to see what was inside. And I found out that the piece that changes each year is just a tiny little piece in the corner. But you can't just change that one piece because each new version is a different shape. So you gotta chuck the whole thing and buy a new one. But stuff cannot break fast enough to keep this arrow afloat. So there's also perceived obsolescence. Now, perceived obsolescence convinces us to throw away stuff that is still perfectly useful. How do they do that? Well, they change the way the stuff looks. So if you bought your stuff a couple of years ago, everyone can tell that you haven't contributed to this arrow recently. And since the way we demonstrate our value is contributing to this arrow, it can be embarrassing. Like, I've had the same fat white computer monitor on my desk for 5 years. My coworker just got a new computer. She has a flat, shiny, sleek monitor. It matches her computer, it matches her phone, even her pen stand. She looks like she's driving in Spaceship Central, and I look like I've got a washing machine on my desk. Fashion is another prime example of this. Have you ever wondered why women's shoe heels go from fat one year to skinny the next to fat to skinny? It's not because there's some debate about which heel structure is the most healthy for women's feet. It's because wearing fat heels in a skinny heel year shows everybody that you haven't contributed to that era as recently, so you're not as valuable as that person in skinny heels next to you, or more likely in some ad. It's to keep us buying new shoes. Advertisements and media in general plays a big role in this. Each of us in the US is targeted with over 3,000 advertisements a day. We see more advertisements in 1 year than people 50 years ago saw in a lifetime. And if you think about it, what's the point of an ad except to make us unhappy with what we have? So 3,000 times a day, we're told our hair is wrong, our skin is wrong, our clothes are wrong, our furniture is wrong, our car is wrong, we are wrong, but it can all be made right if we just go shopping. Media also helps by hiding all of this and all of this. So the only part of the materials economy we see is the shopping. The extraction, production, and disposal all happens outside of our field of vision. So in the US, we have more stuff than ever before, but polls show that our national happiness is actually declining. Our national happiness peaked in the 1950s, the same time that this consumption mania exploded. Interesting coincidence. I think I know why. We have more stuff, but we have less time for the things that really make us happy. Friends, family, leisure time. We're working harder than ever. Some analysts say we have less leisure time than any time since feudal society. And do you know what the two main activities are that we do with the scant leisure time we have? Watch TV and shop. In the US, we spend 3 to 4 times as many hours shopping as our counterparts in Europe do. So we're in this ridiculous situation where we go to work, maybe 2 jobs even, and we come home and we're exhausted, so we plop down on our new couch and watch TV, and the commercials tell us you suck, so you gotta go to the mall to buy something to feel better, and then you gotta go to work more to pay for the stuff you just bought, so you come home and you're more tired, so you sit down and you watch more TV, and it tells you to go to the mall again, and we're on this crazy work, watch, spend treadmill, and we could just stop. All of this work is critically important, but things are really going to start moving when we see the connections, when we see the big picture. When people along this system get united, we can reclaim and transform this linear system into something new, a system that doesn't waste resources